Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. I have a very small pile of books here, so it's going to be a short video. I think next week I'm getting 10 books. It's a heavy DC week, so it should be a return to normal next week. But we're going to start with North Valley Grimoire, and it is not good. I grabbed this. I saw it in previews. It's supposed to be a combination of spells and spies, and I thought that sounded interesting. The cover, I think, is certainly great. However, to really get into it, you need to start on page, I think it's 8. These opening pages, it's a ton of text boxes. There is narration. There's a bit of a conversation going on in these two different colors of text boxes. But what really is happening, and I should point out the lettering, I'll get to that in a second, is there's this, it's called an interrogation, but it's really just a debriefing after an action. So there's this guy, he's on the cover, one of the main characters, is being questioned by his boss, the director. And knowing that, it puts all of this early information in a new light, and it makes no sense why anyone would be saying this. The only reason any of this exists is to inform the audience, and it's just bad. The suspension of disbelief is just immediately gone, and the rest of this isn't really that much better. So what is happening, what has happened, is there is a book. So there was a mission. There's a mission within a nightclub. Things get shooty. This happens at one point. This guy is supposed to be James Bond-ish. He seems like an amateur. I don't understand. This, I think, is definitely a manipulated photo because the rest of the art does not live up to that standard. But this lettering, and really, I think I need to start over here. So someone is really a fan of the word North, and lettering is done by North World Publishing. You get these text boxes that are like this. It's just giant. And, I mean, there's a level of fanciness to it. It seems like, you know, they're trying something, and it works to an extent, but the rest of the time it's really, I think, just distracting. And there's one other instance, this here. It just seems like they've never read a comic. They're trying to be clever and just breaking conventions. I don't know. It's weird. I'm saying it's not good. I'm definitely not adding this to my pull list. I would check out whatever this cover artist does, because their art is nice. But does it say? There's only one artist listed, and the cover artist definitely appears different than the interior artist. Huh. Anyway, I'm saying it's not good. It's not. What is good, however, is Barbaric. Always fantastic, and by default, book of the week. Just spoilers. But this is the end of the Hell to Pay storyline. The end of this issue in particular seems a bit rushed, I'm going to say. So the opening, everyone is where they had previously been. There are fights. There's certainly blood being spilled. It's funny. It's action heavy. And then it gets to a point where things happen just because it seems like they have to happen. And then everyone splits up and goes their separate ways. And I'm like, I felt like I was missing a page. It's like the abruptness of some of the events that happen at the end of this. It's weird. It's just a little weird. It's still good, still great, still highly enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the spin-off series that's coming, and it does feel like there's a goal for the overall Barbaric storyline, that this series will end at some point, maybe in volume 6, I'll say. Because I mentioned that there's a split, right? So a team is going off this way, another team is going off this way. They both have their separate goals, and I feel like overall there's still a goal to kill one particular guy. So I think these teams will re-merge at some point down the line. Get a super team going, I don't know, but it feels like there's an end point for the story. I love this world. I will continue reading it for as long as this team is working on it, and even when it's a different artist, because I enjoy the writing as well. It's great, and I wish volumes 2 and 3 would get collected in hardcover like the first one, and then I would buy them, but I think I'm going to have to settle, I suppose, and get soft covers for volumes 2 and 3. This is volume 3. There is a one-shot coming up. There's a spin-off, The Queen of Swords, I believe. All of that is coming up. I'll be buying all of it. It will be reviewed here on this channel. But looking forward to all of it. This is great. I hope someone else is reading this. It's fantastic. Lastly, there is Frankenstein New World. This came out a few weeks ago. I missed it somehow completely. I don't think I'm going to be doing a separate video on this. I have read it, and I just don't think I have enough to talk about to warrant its own weekend video. So I'm just going to talk about it here and say that this is also a bit weird. It's a continuation of the BPRD storyline. This is, I don't remember, hundreds or thousands of years. I think it's 1,000 years later. But it's a continuation of that world. Obviously, Hellboy there at the top. Frankenstein was a character in that. This is what happens after that. So if you know, then you know. And if you don't, you should really read Hellboy and BPRD and all of that. And it's fantastic. Highly recommended. So this is what happens next. The art is great. I mean, it's should be a fairly familiar creative team. Look at stuff like this. It's just there were a couple of things set up that I thought were going to happen and don't. And it ends in such a way where things, I don't know that there's an announced, not the end. So I don't think there is an announced sequel to this, but there should be, because it's not over. What started here isn't over yet. And I think it was issue 3 ends in the strangest non-ending. If I were reading this on a monthly basis, I'd be very confused. Yeah, so this is the end of issue 3, and it's just this conversation that's happening between a few, I'll say, people. But it ends with just, don't worry, I'll be careful. And there's no, like, I mean, I guess this is kind of a foreboding thing, but it doesn't really, it doesn't feel like an end of an issue. And I don't know, it's very weird. It's a weird week. I also grabbed Weapons of the Metabarons. I was a fan of the Metabarons years ago. I have wanted to get into the more modern stuff that's been going on, but I haven't dipped a toe in. This is that, and it is a very oversized book. It's huge. I have not yet read this. I will talk about this as soon as I have. What I have been reading is this monster. So this is the complete Sweet Tooth. It's over 900 pages. I'm about 750, I think. I'm that far in. I'm trying to read about 100 pages per day. It works out pretty well. It's not, I'd say, too time consuming, but it does take some dedication being able to read every day. So I will do a video on this as soon as it's done. Should be coming soon. I definitely have things to say about this. So that is everything that I got. Well, it's not exactly this week. I've had the Sweet Tooth book for months. I think my wife bought this for us to read after season 1 came out on Netflix. So season 2 we just finished watching maybe last week, and I started reading this because I have some extra time on my hands. And as I said, I will get to this as soon as I can. But that is everything that I got this week. Next week should be a much larger week. Barbaric is pick of the week, and the rest of this is weird and not recommended. So, as always, I get my books from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.